and welcome to Don's Drum Vault. I'm sitting here today with a fantastic collection of Elvin Jones drums. I feel really honored to be sitting here behind these drums that so much magic has occurred behind. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about some of the history of these drums. We're going to have our good friend Chris Hankins play them and demonstrate them and show you just what truly amazing instruments these things are. And then we'll talk a little bit about some details about each of these sets. So we're sitting here today with 3 of his drum sets from a span of his career. This is like the post-Coltrane era when he had his jazz machine. These are all drum sets that he used with his Elvin Jones jazz machine. So let's take a look at some of these drums. I think we'll start with the oldest. The oldest one I have over here is this Tama Camco, which was these were made in the late 70s when Elvin went to the Tama Drum Company from Gretsch, who he played for his entire career. Tama acquired the Camco Drum Company and started building what they would decide was going to be a jazz drum, and Elvin was like the perfect endorser for that drum because he's like the most well-known and well-respected jazz drummer out there. So it was a good time for Elvin to come to Tama. This is a 3-ply shell with reinforcing rings. It has a lug that looks very much like the traditional Camco lug, but it deviated a little bit once Tama got that. And this was the Elvin Jones signature drum set. You'll see in the Tama catalog they had this set in Elvin's signature sizes, and it was marketed as the Elvin Jones signature set. This set and all of the sets are the same sizes. Some of the depths are slightly different, but all the drums are an 18-inch bass drum with 12, 13, 16, and 18-inch toms. So that would be the first round of drums that Elvin played when he hooked up with the Tama Drum Company.
These cymbals are some of the dozens of Elvin's hand-selected Zildjian and Istanbul cymbals that we acquired along with the drum sets that you see here.
By the end of his stint with Tama, which would have been mid-late 80s, he had begun playing this Tama Crestar set. Now this set is a custom gold finish set, also with the same 12, 14, 16, 18 toms, 18-inch bass drum. This one has a 6.5 by 14 king beat snare. This is a birch set, which I believe would have been the first time he would have played a birch set. And this would have been from the very end of Elvin's career with Tama. And this is the only set we've ever seen him playing where he's playing anything other than ambassador heads. On the rack toms, the 12 and the 13, he's got pinstripes on these. And those, I've seen videos of him playing this set, and he played those a lot. And he played them in that configuration with the pinstripes on the racks and the ambassadors on the floor toms. And again, this would have been from the end of the Tama era for Elvin. When Elvin and Tama finally parted ways, Elvin was actually without an endorsement for a while and eventually came to the Yamaha drum company, which would have been in the early 90s, and he stayed with Yamaha for the remainder of his career, for the remainder of his life. This is one of 4 pretty much identical sets that he had in this color that he had spread out over the world. It's in a what they call champagne sparkle, which is a lacquer finish. These were custom made for Elvin at the time. This finish at the time was a finish they only made for Elvin. Now it's commercially available. These drums are also, you'll see on the badges, these all have Elvin's name inscribed in the badges. This set is unique in that it has an 18-inch deep bass drum. It's an 18-inch head, but also 18 inches deep, which all of his other drums had 14-inch deep bass drums. Why this one was like that, I really don't know. This we do know was a set that he did have at his home in New York and used for gigs in the New York area. You know, an interesting story about Elvin's bass drum. I mean, Elvin's bass drum is one of the most discussed and imitated bass drums in jazz. And there's so many drummers trying to achieve the bass drum sound that Elvin had with his bass drum. And you know, people would ask him, you know, what led you to playing the 18-inch bass drum? And really the reason that he chose the 18-inch bass drum was simply because it would fit in a cab and he could move it around. And that fact, just the logistics of that, you know, affected a whole era of musicians, and then still people trying to create that sound. The whole bebop era, that was the whole sort of a signature of that whole sound. there we go. We go from the late 70s with the Tama Camcos, at the beginning of his endorsement with Tama, to the end of his endorsement with Tama, playing when he's playing the Crest Arts, and then finally in the 90s up until the time he passed, he's playing Yamaha's Maple Custom. That should do it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned, there'll be a lot more.